Hello, New Rochelle, and welcome to another edition of What Matters Most. We are in studio at Trinity Elementary School, where everything you do matters. First, some good news. Congratulations to students in Miss Kerry Sharkey's graphics design class at New Rochelle High School on their artwork being featured at the New Rochelle Public Library for the Banned Books Week awareness campaign. Students Amala Cardo was awarded first prize, Elsie Abram second prize, and Brittany Arena for third prize. And congratulations to New Rochelle High School social studies teacher Al Prentice McCutcheon on being selected to serve on the Graduation Measures Blue Ribbon Commission, which will review the state's current graduation requirements. And now for some fun facts. Did you know that the smallest country in the world is Vatican City in Rome, Italy? It's only about 109 acres large. And did you know that the word coffee comes from the Arabic word wine? Finally, did you know that the first pizzeria in the USA was opened, guess where? Right here in New York City. Now, I want to welcome our special guest, Miss Gail Joyner-White. Hello,
Absolutely.
Gail. It's great to have you. You are our newest assistant superintendent for student support services, but I know you have another name that you like to be referred to.
People Support Services.
People
Gail
Support.
Joyner. It's a pleasure, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure
You're
to
very
be
welcome.
here.
Give us a little sense. You're brand new in the district, but you're not new to education, and you're certainly not new to New York. So could you just kind of quickly give us a little sense of where you came, how you came to New Rochelle, and why did you decide to come to New Rochelle?
Absolutely. So I'm born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx. I've been an educator for the past 30 years, 20 years in New York City, the last 12 years in Yonkers. In New York City, I served in every role from paraprofessional to principal, and I went to Yonkers as a principal, and I served in both a high school and elementary school. I also had the opportunity to spend 2 years at central office working in the Department of Professional Development. So, I think back on my life and just reflect, and I was wondering, where did this advocacy come from? And I realized that when I was 16, I was fighting since I've been a high school student. I was an advocate then. Our school in the Bronx did not have a cheerleading team, so I was like, you know what, why not? So I was on the school newspaper, and we wrote, and we started a campaign, and we started a team. And I realized then, I didn't know that this is where my calling would take me, but this is how I wound up in New Rochelle, still literally being an advocate for students, for families, for teachers, for administrators, and just invested in this thing that we call education, in the field of education. I won't call it a thing, excuse me, in the field of education, because it is so much work to be done. Mm-hmm. And I've done my work as far as being a high school principal, and I just thought it was time to transition into central office so that I could better support building leaders and create systems that would help the system as a whole run a tad bit smoother. So here I am, and I'm happy to be here. And
Isn't the real truth, though, your favorite color is purple?
That was my high school color, though, just for the record. I went to East Stevenson in the Bronx, and my colors were purple and white, and I ran track and played on the basketball team there. So my favorite color is purple, color of royalty.
So in your work, Gail, what's most important as you think about supporting our students and our families? I mean, why is this so important in education? It's an obvious question, but can you share your sort of philosophy around why it's so important?
So it's important. It's all about relationships, and I think that's something that some of us may forget sometimes. This work is all about the relationships that we establish with our families, with our staff members, with each other. It's all critical to the work, because 20 years ago you can lead by providing a directive. The world is not the same, right? People need something a little different. They need to be led, and they need to be fed. That means they need professional learning to be supported in the work that we're asking them to do. Mm-hmm. And that is what I truly believe in. If you give people the right supports, and that goes from a student to an adult to a family, they will be successful in what it is they're trying to achieve.
Now, the pandemic has been, quite a setback for our young people, our families in schools, and we've really tried to figure out ways to be more supportive. we've added additional counselors, social workers, school psychologists, but at the end of the day, as you think about, where our students are and what they really need, can you speak a little bit more about that, particularly with your background being a school leader?
Absolutely, and I'll smile and I'll touch my little heart that I was given. That's what we need. A lot of love, a lot of TLC, a lot of hugs, a lot of listening ears from adults. And adults need to be heard as well. So when I'm speaking about students, I'll refer to the big kids and the little kids, and you know that I'm talking about the adults as well as our students. Coming back from that pandemic was a transition for everyone. The young people as well as the adults in the schoolhouse. And I think it's important that we, again, listen. Just allow them a space and a place sometimes to just speak and say what they need to say. I am a restorative practice trainer, and I do a lot of circles, and I use those circles with adults as well as students. I literally just left the high school. We just conducted a circle prior to me coming here, because it's important that people have an opportunity to put their voices in the room. So families, stay tuned, because as we get into our family engagement, we too will allow you a space and a place to put your voice in the room in a different way. Not in a formal board meeting, but just very informally, so that we can hear what your concerns are and your ideas as well. Because, with concerns, we want to hear some ideas that we could potentially solve problems together. But I'm big on collaboration and co-designing whatever it is that we're going to create to move forward in the school district.
Yeah. So just to emphasize, right, it's given our young people a place to be seen, a place to be heard, finding ways to connect them, to make sure that every student has an adult who is available to them, looking after them, right, pushing them, carrying them, and as you said, loving them, right? And it's, so we sometimes refer to that as, giving them some, agency, identity, a sense of belonging, a reason to be in school and be able to explore and to tap into their interests. You also talked about adding additional supports for our families. Can you talk a little bit and share with our audience, what's your vision for the team that you're leading now?
Okay, so I have an awesome team. Let me just say that publicly. They are absolutely amazing individuals that work extremely hard, but I'll refer to Mr. Castro at this time, Eddie. He is going to create, again, he goes around to different events throughout the district.
Our Director of Family and Community Engagement.
That is correct.
All right.
The Director of Family and Community Engagement, and he supports families in that way. He's also at the library. But what he's going to do and what we're going to do is we're trying to solidify a date that we did not bring to the superintendent yet for a PPS night, so that they can get to meet the entire team and understand the components of our department, so that everybody knows where to go and they're not just trying to figure it out, but we're going to make it very clear cut, i.e. who do I speak to in reference to registration? What is that process? So any questions that they may have, Feeding Westchester is part of our umbrella as well. So any supports and any questions that a parent has. Again, I just left the high school, not for one reason, but for multiple. There was a family there trying to get a child back in school, and they needed some support. So I went to be a part of that in person versus over the phone. And the family genuinely appreciated it, because the grandma and the mother were there, and they were just so happy to get this 15-year-old back in school. And he knows who he is, so I'm going to hold you accountable and support you, but I want you to be successful. But It's really about providing whatever supports families need.
So it's giving families a roadmap, helping them understand the various resources that are available to them, and then providing that personal touch, because we are all about, one child, one family at a time, and finding ways to meet them where they are and try to give them the help and the supports that they need.
And that's particularly important following the pandemic, because everything was done via Zoom and virtually and online. So the personal touch means a lot to people now. Right.
You've been on board about a month now. Early impressions of New Rochelle. What have you learned? What maybe has been a surprise for you?
What I've learned, that there are some amazing people here in New Rochelle. Amazing. The staff members that I've had the opportunity to work with thus far, and families, it's been nothing but a pleasant experience. Again, people need to be valued and appreciated. And, my approach to the work does just that. We talked about fair process. We talked about putting systems in place. but I also talk about how to support them and putting the systems in place. You know, if you place the expectation, again, you know, by a little pressure, but you must give support as well.
Right.
So I think it's important that all the teams are hearing the same message, and then we'll create what we need in each respective department.
That's
so.
great. Oh, great. So, final word. What would you like to leave our audience with today?
I would say what matters most is us embracing the idea that New Rochelle and every other school system, but I'm just talking about New Rochelle right now, embraces diversity. We're driving to move forward to achieve success, and we want to do that as one New Rochelle.
That's right.
And I say thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's so good to have you. Welcome again
Absolutely.
to New Rochelle. So there we have it, another edition of What Matters Most. Stay tuned for another upcoming edition. And remember, we are one New Rochelle, where children come first. Thank you. Have a great day, New Rochelle.